Phase 1 is now won. Now we move to Phase 2. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is another Declaration of Truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. In this second of 2 parts, I'll move forward from where we've been and where we are and talk about what groundwork we must start now to lay to win the war for good. Before I begin, I want to shout out to the sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views, link in the description. Be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down near the bottom for that link. Lots of good merchandise there, including this rhino hunting t-shirt in celebration of victories in the Ohio and Indiana primaries. While we're at it, I'll shout out to another sponsor, BitNext. This is your replacement for Zoom, Slack, the Google G Suite, Microsoft Office 365, Dropbox, WeTransfer, and Chili Piper, among others. Unlike any of them, BitNext protects your content and conversations so well, even the administrators can't see them. So this is your channel for secure comms, conferencing, cloud storage, and file sharing. Best of all, everything is back-end, so you don't even need client software. If you have a browser, you can use BitNext. Follow the link and give them a try. 28 days free of charge. You can't beat that with a stick. All right, division, attention! I've just finished talking about where we are and where we were. Now I'm going to tell you where we're going and how we get there. But I'm going to start with what has happened to the medical profession in the 49 years when Roe held sway. The medical establishment makes much of a study called, and I kid you not, the Turnaway Study. Scientific American describes it. According to it, women who have to carry their children to term when they didn't want to often suffer mental and financial stress. Yes, Scientific American talks about financial stress. Never mind the little human life somebody wants to snuff out. Here we have the salient problem with the medical profession. They should be devoting every thought to caring for mothers-to-be facing any stress from pregnancies they didn't plan. Instead, they want to kill the children involved. This flatly violates the original oath of Hippocrates, which reads in relevant part, "I will not give a woman a pessary to cause an abortion." Unquote, Hippocrates of Kos, as translated by Michael North in 2002. Though many medical schools reproduce that part of the oath on inside or outside walls, medical schools have for nearly 50 years had their graduates swear a watered-down oath that does not include the abortion prohibition. We have, simply put, created a cadre of cold-hearted practitioners who concern themselves with their patients' immediate convenience and, of course, with their own fat fees. And when good-hearted people do set up clinics to help a girl come to terms with a problem pregnancy, the conventional establishment turns their backs on them. Worse than that, they impose professional and economic sanctions on them and lobby legislatures to do the same. So pro-life activists face more than protecting their legislative gains from politicians with warped minds. They face a medical profession that has made the cold-blooded calculation to support abortion on demand and without apology. That is the most tragic legacy of Roe v. Wade. And for that, the medical profession can blame themselves. But our clergy should also blame themselves. They should have offered support and spiritual counseling to physicians in training, but they never did. So it's time they started. Clergy should start now to reach out to medical students in their areas of operation. Let that be your next mission field, Pastor. Let's have baccalaureate services for graduating medical students where they can swear a real physician's oath. Call it the Oath of St. Luke. As a matter of fact, I've written one, and I have a link to the description to that too. I threw out the Greek mythological trappings and put back in what the medical schools took out. That means we ask doctors to swear not to perform an abortion. More than that, we must reclaim authority over our children's education. When presidents make such ridiculous statements to teachers that our children belong to them, we must never accept that. More to the point, we must recognize God-based moral education as just as important as our reading, writing, and arithmetic. That might require another 50-year campaign to reverse the Supreme Court's ruling in Lemon versus Kurtzman. Or it might mean decamping from the government schools altogether and repealing state constitutional directives to provide free public schooling. However we do it, we must teach our children moral lessons on the proper and improper uses of sexuality. The time to decide what to do with one's body is before two people jump into bed, not after. And boys, you're in this too. Listen up, young men. The siring of a child carries with it as much responsibility as the bearing of one. The sooner we recognize that, the sooner we can eliminate a lot of heartache. The end of abortion will not come easily. Justice Alito said in his draft opinion that the Supreme Court can never settle the abortion debate and shouldn't try. He's right. That's the job of clergy and family and of adults who act like adults and get right with God. Remember, maybe 10% of abortions that now happen in this country will stop. Women who still think they can take care of the problem by killing will play abortion tourist, as I mentioned in part 1. Incidentally, the medical profession is not the only relevant mission field. The airline industry is another. Hey, people, why not do this? Go find a good video copy of the original 1970 movie, Airport. No, I mean the one with Burt Lancaster, Dean Martin, Barry Sullivan, Van Heflin. Well, let's forget about his character for now. Directed by George Seaton for Universal Pictures. Watch Dean Martin ask Barry Sullivan why he always played it straight on layover. Barry Sullivan says, "My wife was a stewardess on DC-3s. That's how we met. She knew what was going on. So when we got married, I made her a promise, the obvious one, and I've kept it." And Dino then suggests that all the children they've had must have made keeping that promise easier. Barry said he had 7. 4 we planned, he says, and 3 we didn't. And then Dino asks, "Those ones you didn't plan, you didn't maybe think about doing anything about them before they were born? Remember, you couldn't say the word abortion in a G-rated movie." And Barry says, "No." And then he says something very profound that we've all missed. He says, "I'll tell you something. I love all 7, but the 3 we didn't plan, well, they turned out to be something very special." 3 years after that, the Supreme Court coarsened human relationships in the worst possible way. Now they've corrected that, but we must step up. The only way to stop that other 90% of abortions will be by hard work. Beyond the medical profession and the airline industry, the body politic is the new mission field. What if Planned Parenthood opened up another abortion mill and nobody darkened its doors? That is the future toward which we must work. Division dismissed. Links to the description to the article, to the Alito draft, to the new Oath of St. Luke, to the tag search of all Roe v. Wade articles on CNAV, to 2 videos I mentioned in part 1, and to Conservative News and Views. I have another link to the awesome online store and to BitNext, as I also mentioned. And if you like what you've heard, you can like this video and subscribe to this channel. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free.